Kids are just a bundle of joy, until they're not.
I love you!
I hate you!
Although generally cute and fun to be around, sometimes kids can be a lot of trouble, especially when they grow up.
Is this what you want? Behave my life! Behave my life!
No matter how terrible you think children can be, I bet you can't guess what trouble these people got themselves into.
It's your fault.
These are the top 10 Judge Judy kids from hell. Number 5 will definitely surprise you. Number 10. I don't know about you, but I'd be pretty mad if someone stole my TV. In this case, the defendant had a story similar to this. Her son, the plaintiff, stole her TV and then assaulted his sister, who tried to prevent the theft. Shockingly, he was the one suing her for wrongful arrest.
Mr. Hazelton, the defendant is your mother, and it is your claim that she had you falsely arrested a little over a year ago for both stealing her property and for assaulting your sister.
Really quick in the case, the plaintiff, Mr. Glenn Hazelton, got uncomfortable with Judge Judy's questioning. He bluffed, and Judge Judy called him out on it.
None involved trespass, all involved assault. Is that a yes or a no?
That's a no.
Who the
I'm going
party-
to talk about this case at hand. If you don't want to discuss this case, then we can just dismiss it.
Great, then I'm dismissing it. Thank you very much.
All right,
We're
thank
done.
you.
Mr. Glenn didn't expect it, so he tried to backtrack and asked Judge Judy to reconsider the dismissal.
Mr. Hazelton, Officer Byrd tells me that you have had second thoughts about answering the court's questions, and you're asking me to reconsider the dismissal of this case. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay.
Finally, the defendant, Glenn's mom, got to share her side of the story.
Asked her what happened, and she said Glenn came here to use the bathroom, so she let him in. And in the process of using the restroom, he came out with my 32-inch TV, and she went to stop him, and he hit her in the face.
Judge Judy passed her verdict on the case.
Your case is dismissed, Mr. Hazelton. You have no case against your mother. We're finished here.
Number 9. Mary Anderson's daughter betrayed her trust when she gave her car to an irresponsible friend. The former friend crashed the plaintiff's car because she was intoxicated.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of a car was it?
It's a Buick Century 2005.
The defendant, Ms. Salazar, narrated how the accident happened. Judge Judy suspected she wasn't telling the truth.
Well, her brother, Kaylin's brother, had called for us to go pick him up. And as we left, she wanted us still party, and she grabbed my hand while I was driving, and I got distracted. And from there, we hit an oncoming car.
Things weren't looking good for the defendant. Her license was suspended at the time, and she wasn't being straightforward with what had happened.
I had a license before when I was driving.
I asked you, on what car did you have parking tickets?
On my mom's car.
That's a lie. They wouldn't suspend your license if you had parking tickets on your mother's car.
Yeah, because I failed to appear court.
What difference does it make? They were parking tickets. It goes to the car, not to the driver. Nah. If it's your mother's car, that's not why your license was suspended for parking tickets.
Ms. Salazar didn't have a license, and she was drunk. She claimed the plaintiff's daughter grabbed her hand while she was driving, and it hit an oncoming car. The judge decided she would pay for her carelessness.
Okay. Do you have an estimate to fix the car?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work does your daughter do, Miss Anderson?
She works for Yoshinoya, server, cashier.
Good. She's going to pay for some of this.
Number 8. Usually when a divorce happens, both parties involved tend to go apart and stay that way. But for the parties in this case, the plaintiff, Deborah Hartzell, sued her son's former wife years after their divorce.
Since when? What year?
2005.
Ms. Hansel was already remarried to her current husband. A problem with their mortgage and delayed child support forced them to reach out to the plaintiff's son.
To November.
That's when this money came about. I had contacted her son in regards to the child support. I was in need of the money right then, and I had asked him if child support payment had been made yet.
The plaintiff's son couldn't provide the money, so they reached out to her instead.
What she said to you?
I told her at that point that I had 2 days to come up with just under $1,100 to make sure I could keep the home. She told me to figure out exactly what I needed and to let her know we would go from there.
Judge Judy found that the plaintiff's son was very negligent, and the case had started because of a financial mix-up. Then she announced her verdict on the case.
33. For the next 7 months, you pay the child support. Do we have an agreement?
Well, we're a month.
No. Do we have an agreement? unless you send that money in to be credited to him for the next 7 months, he doesn't owe any child support.
That's fine.
Because you owe her, and that was the agreement.
I understand, yeah.
And that was the agreement.
That's fine.
Perfect, we're done here.
Number 7. Ann Robertson bought a mobile home in her daughter's name, but now she wanted it back.
And she wanted what?
She wanted to purchase a trailer, okay, for me.
The plaintiff explained why she bought the home in her daughter's name.
It's because I was about halfway ill or something. So I told her, I said, if in case I pass, I'm going to put it in your name. That way you can sell the house and split it between the 4 kids.
Ms. Perdue, the defendant, claimed her mother did so for sinister reasons.
Purchasing this trailer for me, but she put the trailer in my name because she couldn't claim that money. She couldn't have it in her name as an asset. I'm sorry, that's what I'm trying to say.
Ms. Robertson then revealed that her daughter threatened to kick her out if they went to court.
When we come back, I'm throwing you out on the streets and I'm selling the house.
No.
Judge Judy realized that there was some bad blood between the two. That's when she asked the defendant a question, and her response shocked the audience.
So that your mother is happy. Would you be prepared to sign an order giving your mother a life estate in that mobile home? Which means that during her lifetime, she cannot be excluded from the mobile home that she's currently living in. Were you prepared to sign such an order?
I would, on just
No, just it. Oh. That's either I am prepared to sign it or I'm not.
No, I'm not. No, you're not.
Yeah, that's what I told you.
Judge Judy said there was nothing she could do because the trailer was in her name.
I'm telling you the same thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I can do to help you.
Here is the verdict.
To sign an order that says that during your lifetime you can live in the portion of the mobile home that's 2 bedrooms and a living room and a kitchen.
Right.
She's prepared to do that. Do you want me to have her do that?
Yes.
Great. Then this case is over. We'll have you sign the document.
Number 6. A couple of kids were playing together when an accident happened.
That's correct.
They were playing a game. His father says it was an accident. They were both fooling around and accidents happen.
Ryan, the plaintiff, claimed that they were sliding a bottle on the ground before the defendant, Zach, did something unexpected. This ended with Ryan missing his 2 front teeth.
December 20th.
What were you doing?
We were sliding this replica of this plastic bottle back and forth on the ground after school.
Sliding it?
Yeah, sliding.
Where were you?
By my locker.
Zach admitted throwing the bottle, but not to hurt his friend. Judge Judy didn't think he had bad intentions either. She probed further.
One catch that he did not catch, and
how many times was the bottle thrown?
Probably 15 to 20 times.
No.
Yeah, I don't believe you, Ryan. I don't believe it. I don't believe that the first time this was thrown, it hit you in the mouth. And I certainly don't believe that Zach intended to hurt you. You think he intended to hurt you?
Judge Judy asked for the medical bills involved.
The emergency care that day to get his teeth glued back in place was $572, and then the estimated cost to get the other part, all of it together, comes to $4,070.
Finally, the verdict.
And that's what it is. $4,000 divided by 2 is $2,000. Judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Number 5. This mom claimed she loaned her daughter money for electric bills. Now she wanted it back, but her daughter was not interested in returning it.
Pay the electrical bill.
Yes.
She turned out not to have paid the bill, which subsequently went to collections. You want the bill.
The defendant, Tony Hammond, claimed there was no agreement concerning a refund.
Was receiving assistance and still does. She has PTSD, so she receives Social Security. My mother is fully aware of that. That was the only income that I had to take care of my household. I don't know how I could have came up with any type of agreement or plan.
Judge Judy wanted to get to the bottom of the bad blood between the two of them. It seems Miss Hammond felt neglected by her mother in her early years.
When you knew, because you shook your head yes, that she had already put on utilities, skipped out on them over the course of her adult life enough time so that they weren't going to put them on in her name, because that would be my first question.
The judge gave her verdict.
A loan requires an expectation that you can be repaid. You had absolutely zero anticipation that you were going to be repaid because you know your daughter and her circumstances very well. You know that she has no work history, at least no current work history, as you have no independent current work history. You work just enough so that you can continue to receive what you receive, plus up until that line, and that line's never going to get crossed. So we're done. I don't have a loan because I don't have an expectation of repayment. Your case is dismissed.
Number 4. Miss Brown was tired of the neighbor's kids playing in her yard and leaving their balls and trash there. Lamont and his friends kicked the ball into her yard and she promptly seized it.
And they play in the street in front of your house, and sometimes they sort of spill over into your yard. Based upon what I'm reading here, you've found that annoying.
The kids come up to her car to retrieve their ball. The plaintiff accused the little boy of kicking her car.
Came to my car and knocked on the window and said, "You have our ball, we want it back."
Then you say, at some point during that exchange, he kicked your car. That's why we're here.
Lamont gave his own version of what had happened.
I get my ball back, and she said no. And then I was like, I'm going to get my daddy, and she said, excuse my language, can I say exactly what she said? She said, go get your daddy.
So did that make you angry?
Yes.
Did you kick her car?
No, ma'am.
Who kicked her car?
No one.
When she went around looking for his parents, since they lived in the same neighborhood, this happened.
Knocking on the door, I said, I'll give you $5 if you tell me who his parents are. They said, we don't rock that way, quote unquote. And then at that point, as I'm sitting in my car, he came up and he kicked the car. Okay. Then one of the other boys restrained him because he then said, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
Although Lamont said he didn't do it, there's a police statement from him that said otherwise. Judge Judy didn't appreciate being lied to.
Tell me which one it is.
I lied to the police, because
well, that's not a good thing to do. It's not a good thing to lie to anybody.
This was the conclusion.
Kicking her car in response to her bad behavior. That's inappropriate teaching. You got it? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. We're done.
Number 3. Now, there aren't any PSAs on this, but the general consensus is that we should keep guns out of reach of 8-year-olds. The family certainly didn't get the memo.
He is 8 years old.
That's correct.
And it is your claim that your son was injured while playing with the defendant's little boy when the defendant's little boy had a pellet gun. That?
It is.
Let me see it.
The pellet gun went off when they were playing. And here's what Judge Judy thinks about it.
Who bought the gun?
I did.
You're responsible. You're an idiot enough to let your child play with something that is capable of causing damage to another child.
Kids naturally do all kinds of crazy things. And if you think it's fine to give your child a weapon capable of causing injury, then...
8-year-old. And if you think that this 8-year-old can be properly trained to have possession of and control of a gun, because you think that they can properly be trained, you're a moron.
Judge Judy had plenty to say about his parenting skills. Yes, she thinks he shouldn't have any more children.
Say it any louder. And if you think that putting a more serious weapon in the hands of your 8-year-old is appropriate, look, you're an idiot. I can't do anything about it. How much is your dental bill? Just don't have any more children.
Judge Judy gives her verdict and has a pellet gun to take home.
$91, that's all. Step out. This is mine.
Number 2. This lady wanted her parents to look after a friend's baby for a while. She claims her friend doesn't have the supplies to take care of the child.
You came to your mother's home because some friends of yours had a baby.
Yes, Your Honor.
And these people didn't have the wherewithal to take care of this baby.
Yes, the proper things.
So you came to the house to see if you could give the baby to your mother.
She also claimed that it was her mother who offered to take care of the child. Her stepfather disagreed.
Watch the baby because she did offer, so we came back.
Valencia and her stepfather then got into a fight after he accused her of trying to exploit her mother.
And we started going to a verbal argument, like I told you.
Okay, so you were shouting at each other.
At each other, and saying disrespectful things to each other.
And then?
Somehow a TV got broken in the middle of all of this.
The TV got broke because she hit the TV.
How?
Like this, she punched it.
Judge Judy makes her call.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. We're finished. Thank you very much.
Number 1. Pauline is a mom and a grandma who loves her family very much. She loved her son so much that she decided to take in 2 of his 4 children and loan him $1,000. The least he could do was pay her back.
For a car loan of $1,000 and the balance of some old furniture you sold to him. That's what your lawsuit is about.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy asked if he paid any support to his mother for the 2 children.
Do you pay your mother any support for taking care of your children?
No, ma'am.
Judge Judy wasn't impressed with the defendant's attitude towards taking care of his kids.
Can do, but she's a single lady taking care of your responsibilities.
I want to take care of my own children. She asked to help me out. Okay, they're different.
She gave him $1,000 for a vehicle when he asked for it, and now wants to be paid back. The defendant denied asking for the money, and it turns out he had an accident with the car.
If something come up where I have to be at work at a certain time and I can't drop them off. So he came and said, I found someone that has a car and it's $1,000. Can you let me borrow it? And I was like, sure.
How many cars have you had in the last 5 years that have been in accidents?
Only 2.
Have they both been totaled?
No, ma'am, not both.
Just the one that you bought with her $1,000?
Yes.
Judge Judy gets her verdict.
Great. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. We're done.